Looks like first up after Alma, so I want you to be able to spring like a jaguar.
Got it. Or like a panther.
I know, maybe like a panther. A young, aggressive panther.
Good to see you. Glad you
Well, good morning, everybody. Well, I think it's after the members. You're going to do members, and then they're going to go in a row. If you'll help me just down. Come stand right here. Yeah, don't. Morning, everybody. Volume up. You're going to need to shout, brothers and sisters.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. My name is French Hill. I represent Little Rock, Arkansas in the House of Representatives, and I'm so glad to be here on the Capitol Plaza today with my good friend Alma Adams of North Carolina. Both of us elected in the 2014 cycle. Both of us have been dedicated to carrying the message, the policy needs, and the advocacy in the House of Representatives for our historically black colleges and universities. And we're glad to be with you today. And we bring greetings from our Senate companions who are occupied over in the Senate on good things today. My pal, Tim Scott, chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, is marking up my bill to the Clarity Act. So God is good, but we don't have him here with us today. And then our good friend Chris Coons of Delaware is not able to be with us today either. But in spirit, they are with us because they are our partners in the United States Senate, as today we unveil for this 119th Congress the IGNITE Act. And I'm just so grateful to have Alma at my side and the presidents of many of our historically black colleges and universities, including two from my great home state of Arkansas. And you'll hear from them in a few minutes. I want to walk through kind of the history of what we've tried to do. One, we've had great success over the years we've worked together on advancing the caucus. It's one of the largest caucuses in the House, to build that consensus in the House and Senate of the importance of our HBCUs and how they disproportionately educate African Americans, particularly in the STEM sciences, and punching way above their weight.
That's right.
And we know that in our own districts. I'm blessed to represent, as I say, Little Rock, and we have three HBCUs there. We have the famous Philander Smith College, well represented here today, Arkansas Baptist College, and our only two-year private shorter college in North Little Rock, Arkansas. And then we have just a few minutes away our land-grant school that we're so proud of in our state, the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, ably represented here as well. And so I see firsthand in my work in the private sector, having been a community banker, the power of the educating power of the HBCUs in Central Arkansas in building workforce, contributing to greater research, particularly in agriculture, filling badly needed professional jobs in the sciences. We're the state's headquarters for the medical community in the state of Arkansas, and those medical science professional degrees are critical to providing the patient care that we do every day in Little Rock, and at the heart of that are the talented students that we get from Philander Smith, for example, and University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So what we have found, though, in the work together and in the summits that I've done in Little Rock that Alma's come to and visited with me about, is the gap in infrastructure funding on our HBCU campuses, including our state-funded land-grant schools. And we wanted to fill that gap. How do we encourage philanthropy? How do we encourage state support? How do we encourage the Congress to fund those gaps and help focus on those gaps? And so today, at the heart of what we're here to announce is the IGNITE Act, which tackles that infrastructure funding gap on our HBCU campuses and encourages, as I say, a powerful tonic in American society, which is philanthropy, both in our private foundation community and in our corporate community. Because when you partner, sometimes it's about the money, but if we make it about the students, then we get professional qualifications, paid internships, and we build capacity on our campuses. So I want to stop there. There's more to say, but I want to turn it over to my distinguished co-chair, not only graduate, but professor, Alma Adams. So glad to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. I am Alma Adams. I do represent the 12th Congressional District, Charlotte, North Carolina, Mecklenburg County. Before I begin, though, I do want to thank my fellow co-chair, Congressman French Hill, for not only his partnership, but for yielding some time to me today. We may come from different parts of the country and different sides of the aisle, but we have remained committed to the belief that investing in HBCUs is an investment in the future of this country. And so before I say anything else, I want to recognize the people and the organizations who've helped carry this work forward for years. UNCF, thank you for your partnership and your advocacy on behalf of our institutions. Dr. Michael Lomax, Rodriguez Mary, Dr. Terrence Tarver, thank you all for continuing to push these conversations forward. And to Thurgood Marshall, thank you as well, Dr. Harry Williams, Victor Santos, and Sean Burns. We appreciate all of your partnerships as well. We're going to recognize our colleges and universities in a moment. To Dr. Felicia Nav and Paul Braithwaite, thank you from the 1890 Universities Foundation for making sure that our land-grant institutions remain part of this national conversation. I also want to recognize my Senate chairs that have been mentioned, Senator Tim Scott, Senator Chris Coons for their leadership and their partnership as well. Again, Congressman Hill, thank you for standing with us. Thank you for continuing to work alongside us in the House on behalf of HBCUs. Now, I've got a lot of folks here from North Carolina, too. Nothing could be finer than to be at an HBCU in North Carolina. We've got Johnson C. Smith here, our president is here. We also have Shaw University president, Dr. Dillard is here. We have Dr. Davis, Anthony Davis from Livingstone College. And I'm trying to think, is North Carolina A&T is here as well. But we're gonna introduce them later. But let me just say that not too long ago, I was in Arkansas for the HBCU Summit at the Arkansas Baptist College. And I remember sitting there looking around the room and thinking about how much our history and our institutions carry with them, not just in books, living history carried by students who were told no and kept going anyway. History carried by faculty who taught excellence in buildings that should have been replaced years ago. History carried by presidents and chancellors who learned how to stretch every dollar because they had no other choice. And that's what makes today an emotional day for me.
Yes.
A twice HBCU graduate from North Carolina A&T, honorary degrees from 14 HBCUs, and so Ignite did not begin in a committee room. This bill started with conversations on campuses. It started with presidents walking me through science buildings with leaking ceilings. And it started with students living in dormitories that needed repairs. It started with faculty trying to conduct cutting-edge research in outdated lab space. And it started with institutions saying, we're doing everything we can do with what we have. And so for years, I've kept thinking to myself, our schools should not have to survive like this forever. As an educator of 40 years, I know what environment means. Students deserve to learn in spaces that reflect their potential. Researchers deserve facilities that allow them to be able to compete. And institutions that have contributed so much to this country deserve investment that matches their value. And that's why the Ignite Excellence Act, HR 8791, it means so much to me personally, because this is not symbolic work. This is concrete work. This is about modern classrooms, modern research facilities, student housing, broadband, technology, infrastructure, and the physical future of our campuses. And this bill, it's about making sure that HBCUs are not simply preserving their legacy, but building toward their future. And so after years of fighting for these institutions in state government, in Congress, through the bipartisan HBCU caucus, in rooms where people did not always understand the urgency of the issue. But I can honestly say this moment means a great deal to me. This legislation represents the accumulation of years of advocacy and partnership and belief that these institutions deserve the same opportunity to compete, to grow, and to thrive as any other institution in this country. Today, we take a major step forward, and we do that together. I want to recognize the presidents and chancellors who joined us today. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your persistence and your commitment to your students and campuses every single day. I'm going to call them in just a moment, but I want to recognize Representative Morgan McGarvey from the 3rd District of Kentucky, and also my sister here, Representative Nakima Williams from the 5th District of Georgia. I'm going to let her have a comment, and then we're going to introduce the presidents.
Thank you, Dr. Adams, and thank you, Chairman Hill. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So today is an exciting day, so I'm a little Southern, y'all, and you can do a little bit better than that because we are doing some exciting things for HBCUs. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Y'all, I am Congresswoman Nakima Williams, and I proudly represent Georgia's fighting 5th Congressional District, home of the largest consortium of HBCUs in the country, the Atlanta University Center. From Clark Atlanta University and Morehouse College to Spelman College, Morehouse School of Medicine, Morris Brown College, and the Interdenominational Theological Center, HBCUs are essential to keeping the fighting 5th and this country thriving. But first, I have to shout out my HBCU, Talladega College. Y'all, I'm a proud 3rd generation HBCU alum. My grandparents and my parents both met on the campus of Talladega College. So I stand here, good old Talladega. So I stand here as a product of the work that the leaders here are doing, and I will always stand up and fight for funding for our HBCUs. I know firsthand that HBCUs open doors and changes lives. They create opportunities for students who have always had the talent and brilliance, but too often haven't had equitable access to resources and investment. That's why the Ignite HBCU Excellent Act is so important. For generations, HBCUs have done extraordinary work despite chronic underfunding and aging infrastructure. This legislation recognizes that our students deserve campuses that are safe, modern, innovative, and built to support their success. When we invest in HBCUs, y'all, we invest in the next generation of doctors, educators, engineers, entrepreneurs, congresspeople, and change makers. Y'all, we invest in communities. We invest in closing the racial wealth gap once and for all, and we invest in the promise and potential of young people who deserve every opportunity to thrive. I am so proud to support my colleagues in this bipartisan HBCU caucus and grateful to everyone working to ensure that our HBCUs have the resources that they need, not just to survive, but to thrive and flourish for generations to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Congresswoman. Let me recognize all of my presidents, and we're going to give you I want them to join us if they're not here. President Valerie Kinloch from Johnson C. Smith University, President Paulette Dillard, Chancellor Anthony Graham, President Anthony Davis, President Maurice Gibson, President Sophia George, President Quentin T. Rose Jr., President Jeffrey Norfleet, Dr. Felicia Nav, Dr. Timothy Simmons. I also want to mention Dr. Leonard, from Howard University, and I think there's someone here from Fisk, Dr. Kelvin Lawson, and Mr. Ronald Career. So if you all can just take a minute, we'd give you at least a minute at this mic. I am out of the education committee, and I'm going to go back when we finish so I can get my 5 minutes in with Secretary McMahon. So, Dr. Kinloch?
What's the lineup?
So, good morning, everyone. I am President Valerie Kinloch from Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's a pleasure to be here today and to support these efforts. Johnson C. Smith University was founded in 1867, And in 1867, we had brilliant minds saying we need to come together and form the only historically black university in the city of Charlotte. So we're here today. And as a first-generation alumna from Johnson C. Smith University celebrating her 30th year, I am here to say that infrastructural improvements are necessary and needed on our HBCU campuses. We contribute to our economic and our educational landscape, and for our students to have the spaces and the places by which they survive and thrive in this growing economy is really important for us. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to support our representatives, and I am particularly excited that Johnson C. Smith University is represented by Congresswoman Alma Adams. And so, in conclusion, I want to say that the need to invest in historically black colleges and universities is at an all-time high. I actually believe that on this Sunday, when I graduate almost 235 students from Johnson C. Smith University, it is going to be important that they have careers, they have opportunities for graduate and professional schools, but they understand the value of investing in our historically black colleges. So I thank Congresswoman Alma Adams, I thank our other elected officials, and I also thank our other HBCU presidents for investing, for believing in educational equity, and for understanding that we are a part of a large ecosystem and we need to have infrastructural improvements on our college campuses. Again, I'm Valerie Kinlock. Thank you so much.
Good morning. It is indeed an honor to represent one of the oldest historically black colleges and universities in our nation, Shaw University, located in Raleigh, North Carolina. Shaw University was founded in 1865. The most recent building built on our campus has been 2008. Most of our students continue to learn and live in structures built before the 1960s. But yet we continue to turn out amazing teachers, doctors, lawyers, leaders throughout this nation. And imagine if we can do that kind of work in facilities that are not up to par. What an investment in infrastructure will do for our campuses. Shaw University continues to excel in fields like cybersecurity, in fields that require the most recent updates in technology, etc. Ignite will give us an opportunity to continue to deliver on the promise that we make to every student that enters the doors of our university. And that is that when you leave, you become a leader that transforms communities around the world. I want to give a shout out to United Negro College Fund and to ask that if you want to know more about what Ignite means to our campuses, go to uncf.org/ignite, because this program of institutional grants for new infrastructure, technology, research, and education for HBCU excellence is an absolute mandate. And we have to do it for these institutions to continue to be the producers of teachers, preachers, lawyers, social workers, the things that make our nation great. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Congresswoman Adams, French Hill, and all of you that have supported this amazing piece of legislation. Thank you.
Good morning. I'd first like to thank both Congressman Hill, my congressman from the great state of Arkansas, and Congresswoman Adams for their important work on this Ignite Act. For HBCUs, this legislation represents far more than just infrastructure funding. It represents opportunity, innovation, and the ability to fully meet the evolving needs of our students and our communities. At Philander Smith University, founded in 1877, we are always actively expanding programs designed to meet the workforce shortages and create pathways to economic mobility. One important example is our new Bachelor of Science in Nursing program, as Arkansas and the nation continue to face healthcare workforce challenges, it's schools like ours that are essential to preparing the next generation of nurses and healthcare professionals who will serve our communities. And they often serve those communities that are underserved and overlooked. But sustaining these high-quality academic programs requires more than just vision alone. It requires modern facilities, updated technology, and learning environments that allow our students to compete and excel in a rapidly changing world. The Ignite HBCU Excellence Act recognizes that reality. Investments in campus infrastructure and technology strengthen our ability to recruit talented students and faculty and expand workforce opportunities. HBCUs, since their inception, are economic and cultural anchors within our communities. We educate first-generation students, develop leaders, create pipelines into those critical professions, including healthcare, education, business, and STEM fields. When Congress invests in HBCUs, it is investing in communities, in workforce development, and in the future of this country. The Ignite Act affirms what we have long known about HBCUs. We continue to deliver extraordinary outcomes, even while too often doing so with far too little. HBCUs are not simply institutions with a proud history. They are engines of opportunity, innovation, and transformation. This legislation creates an opportunity not simply to preserve these institutions, but to position them for even greater impact in the many years ahead. At Philander Smith University, we see every day what is possible when talented students are given access, support, and the opportunity to thrive. Legislation like Ignite helps ensure that institutions like ours can continue preparing students not only to succeed in today's economy, but to lead in shaping tomorrow's future. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Anthony Graham, the Chancellor at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and I want to begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to Congresswoman Alma Adams from the great state of North Carolina, where I was born and reared in Little Kinston, North Carolina, and had the pleasure of working at North Carolina Agriculture and Technical State University for 18 years, then transitioned to Winston-Salem State University for 7 years. So I'm pleased to be here on behalf of the state of North Carolina, while also expressing my appreciation to Congressman French Hill from the great state of Arkansas, where I currently reside and where I serve as the 10th Chancellor of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So I finally got there. If you ever wonder what happens when you put Arkansas and North Carolina together, a spark that leads to Ignite Excellence. And that's why we're here today. For institutions like the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, this legislation represents far more than funding. It represents opportunity. Opportunity to strengthen research infrastructure, opportunity to expand innovation and STEM education, opportunity to prepare more students for high-demand workforce fields, opportunity to help institutions like the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff continue to serve as engines of talent, innovation, economic mobility, and regional renewal throughout states like Arkansas and the Delta. We know that historically black colleges and universities produce a disproportionate number of black graduates in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and the health sciences, despite generations of underfunding. And the 1890 land-grant institutions specifically have long served as anchors of research, agriculture, workforce development, and community impact across rural America, generating more than $4 billion in economic impact, billion with a B. At the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, we see every day the extraordinary talent, promise, and potential of our students. This legislation is ultimately an investment in them and in America's future workforce, innovation capacity, and global competitiveness. We are grateful for this leadership, this partnership, and this continued commitment to America's historically black colleges and universities, mission-driven institutions that have helped build and sustain America's middle class for generations. Thank you.
So we're going to have Dr. Davis and Dr. Dillett to come. Dr. Dillard? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You sure have.
Right.
Dr. Davis.
Good afternoon. I want to thank Congresswoman Adams, Congressman Hill for this bill. My remarks will come first with a question. How do you sustain record growth, 43.5% in 3 years? How do you sustain a 73% retention rate amongst your freshmen in this same period? How do you support and sustain this momentum when you have your infrastructure crumbling around you? How do you support this same momentum where you do not have access to capital and the ability to attain it? I have 3 words: ignite, ignite, ignite. Ignite will unlock the potential of our students and all of our institutions. Ignite will unlock a new era of innovation. Ignite will unveil the power of a committed, courageous, collective body of institutions who have done so much for so many, for so long, with so little, serving the underserved, the under-resourced, the underrepresented, but certainly they are deserving. Together, we will keep the fire burning as we empower the next generation of leaders, thinkers, and change agents. I'm calling on all of the alumni of Livingstone College, Blue Bear Nation, and the A&M Zion Church to let your voices be heard. Go to our partner of longstanding, UNCF, uncf.org/ignite. And then we can ask the question, or we can say, do not look at things and wonder why. Just dream new ideas and say, why not? Thank you.
Amen.
Okay. Is President Sophia George? President Quentin Ross? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. I'm Dr. Quentin T. Ross, the 15th president of the Alabama State University, and also a proud graduate. I also serve on the board of directors for the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Alabama State University, founded in 1867, and is located in Montgomery, Alabama. Thurgood Marshall College Fund represents nearly 314,000 scholars attending 57 public-funded HBCUs and HBCCs and PBIs across the nation. Together, these institutions are preparing the next generation of education, scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, healthcare professionals, and public servants. I'd like to thank Representative Adams and Representative French, and also Senator Chris Coons and Senator Tim Scott for their leadership and bipartisan commitment, and the entire bipartisan caucus committed to America's historically black colleges and universities and historically black community colleges. The Ignite HBCU Excellence Act is more than legislation. It is an investment in talent, opportunity, and America's future. For generations, HBCUs have delivered extraordinary outcomes despite long-standing inequities in funding and infrastructure. Our institutions continue to produce leaders who shape every sector of society while serving scholars who often overcome tremendous obstacles to pursue higher education. At Alabama State University, we see both the promise and our scholars and the urgency of this most important moment every day. Since being my tenure at Alabama State University in 2017, Alabama State University has invested more than $40 million in infrastructure enhancements, including security upgrades and campus modernization. Now, we're proud of that progress we've made, but we still face more than $60 million in deferred maintenance and critical infrastructure needs. Like many HBCUs, we are working to ensure scholars learn, live, and innovate in environments that reflect today's workforce demand, not the conditions of decades ago. The Ignite Act recognizes a simple but powerful truth. A scholar's potential should never be limited to crumbling campus facilities. Our institutions cannot prepare tomorrow's workforce with yesterday's infrastructure. Modern research facilities, advanced technology, safe residence halls, and innovative learning environments are not a luxury, they are a necessity. This legislation helps ensure that HBCUs and HBCCs and PBIs can continue to serve the engine of economic mobility and anchors within the communities across America. And when we invest in these institutions, we invest in America. HBCUs remain the primary pipeline for Black doctors, engineers, teachers, technology leaders, and public servants. Nationally, HBCUs generate more than $15 billion in annual economic impact and support over 134,000 jobs. The return on this investment will be seen stronger campuses, stronger communities, and a stronger nation. I want to also acknowledge the bipartisan nature of this effort. Progress happens when leaders come together around shared purpose and a shared responsibility. Today, we stand united in the belief that every scholar deserves access to excellence and every institution deserves the opportunity to modernize, to compete, and thrive. So on behalf of Alabama State University, on behalf of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund and the hundreds of thousands of scholars whose future depend on bold action, I thank our congressional champions for standing with our institutions today. And now we call on everyone to contact their congresswoman or to contact their senator to urge them to pass the Ignite HBCU Excellence Act. Invest in our scholars. Thank you and God bless you.
I think they're calling me back to committee. We're going to hear from President Norfleet, Dr. Felicia Nav, Timothy Simmons, and Dr. Lawson, and Mr. Caree. And if I have to leave out, you're gonna finish up for me. Sure. Okay.
Good morning. I'm President Jeffrey Norfleet of Shorter College. I want to thank Congressman Hill and Congresswoman Adams for their leadership and for their championship of the Ignite HBCU Excellence Act. Shorter College is excited about this legislation because it speaks directly to what our students, our campus, and our community need right now. As a private two-year HBCU in North Little Rock, who's experienced a 20% enrollment growth this year, we serve working adults, parents, first-generation students, returning learners, and individuals seeking a second chance through education. They come to Shorter with ambition, responsibility, and hope. Our job is to make sure they have the environment and tools and support to finish what they've started. The Ignite HBCU Excellence Act would help us do that in this very practical way. At Shorter College, these funds would strengthen our campus technology, modernize our classrooms, improve our aging facilities, and expand workforce-connected programs that lead to real jobs, strong families, and greater economic mobility. We imagine programs that allow students to engage with augmented and virtual reality and training for programs such as cybersecurity, or nursing to logistics, which requires new modified learning classrooms. There could not be a more better time or an opportunity for such a time as this, since we've launched our campus master plan, which will drive the economic development piece in North Little Rock, as well as a combination of our $40 million capital campaign that would signify a true public-private partnership with this act. This year at Shorter, we are celebrating 140 years of existence. Shorter College is ready, our students are ready, our HBCUs are ready, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Good morning. It is truly an honor to join you today for this important announcement of the HBCU Ignite bill. This is a moment of continued progress for our nation's historically Black colleges and universities. First, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to Congresswoman Alma Adams and Congressman French Hill for your leadership, vision, and unwavering commitment to advancing the future of HBCUs and the students we serve. Your bipartisan leadership sends a powerful message about the national importance of investing in these institutions. I also want to recognize and thank all the members of Congress present today for your support and advocacy. Your engagement demonstrates that strengthening HBCUs is not a partisan issue, it's an American priority. I am especially pleased to acknowledge Chancellor Graham of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff and all of our presidents and chancellors joining us today. I have the honor of serving as the president and CEO of the 1890 University Foundation, the organization that supports the nation's 19 land-grant HBCUs. Our mission is to strengthen the collective impact of these institutions by building partnerships, securing resources, and advancing initiatives that expand research capacity, workforce development, student success, and community impact. Many HBCUs, particularly our land-grant institutions, play a critical role in advancing our nation's security and competitiveness through research and innovation in agriculture, food security, engineering, artificial intelligence, healthcare, workforce development, all the while too often operating with aging infrastructure and decades of deferred maintenance. Our students deserve modern laboratories, updated classrooms, advanced research facilities, reliable broadband infrastructure, and innovation spaces that allow them to compete globally and lead nationally. The Foundation stands committed to helping advance this legislation by mobilizing support, engaging stakeholders, and helping ensure this bill is passed and signed into law. Today is more than the introduction of the bill. It is a statement that America believes in the promise, the power, and the potential of HBCUs. We are asking each of you here today and your colleagues in both chambers to move this legislation forward. Our students, our institutions, and our communities cannot afford to wait. Thank you again, Congresswoman Adams, and Congressman Hill, and all the members of Congress standing with us today.
Dr. Summers.
Good afternoon, or good morning rather. I think it's still morning. I'm really amazed and warmed at the presence of North Carolina here as a proud graduate of Elizabeth City State University. And on behalf of President Wilson and Morgan State University, I want to thank Congresswoman Adams, Congressman Hill. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. We have to remember, and this is a great time to remember, that infrastructure is not just about buildings. It is about digital systems and AI and research computing, many things that we're starting to really invest in. And I just realized I didn't introduce myself. I'm Dr. Timothy Summers. I am the Vice President of Information Technology and Chief Information Officer at Morgan State University. So I can share with you a little bit of some of the things that we're doing and thinking about in terms of infrastructure. Morgan State University has built its own sovereign AI, our own AI built for Morgan by Morgan. We also have leaned into transformational partnerships around AI and quantum and cybersecurity, as well as beginning to expand and extend that work and research with many other HBCUs, because we recognize that one institution leveraging the model is one thing, but all of us leveraging the model is another thing. And opportunity and infrastructure have to meet and rise to the occasion where we are right now. The talent is everywhere, but we need the infrastructure and the opportunity to rise to the occasion and follow. It's opportunities like this and situations like this where we're absolutely reminded that investment in HBCUs and in their infrastructure is investment in American innovation and competitiveness. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for having Morgan State University here.
Hello, my name is Kelvin Lawson. I'm representing Florida A&M University. On behalf of our president, Marva Johnson, I bring you greetings. I serve as the Chief Operating Officer at the university. We are extremely happy to be a part of this project We thank our congressional leadership for their courage to put this opportunity on the table. At Florida A&M, we are fortunate to be the #1 public HBCU in the country. And we say that with great pride, not because it's a bragging moment, but it is a statement to how we have worked to educate our young men and women. We are proud of the fact that we rank toward the top in social mobility in the country. However, to stay there, we need to continue to invest, as all of my colleagues before me have talked about, in our infrastructure, to house, to educate, to train, and to provide our young people with the highest level of technology that's available in the marketplace today. We believe that legislation like this only allows us to continue to propel that mission. So again, we are grateful for our congressional leadership. We are so hopeful and prayerful that this legislation will pass. Thank you.
Chairwoman Adams and I would be happy to take some questions, and we've also feel free to direct a question to one of our presidents too if that adds value. So, Alex?
You know, I think the challenge that maybe people back home, whether it be North Carolina or Arkansas, the challenge that people don't understand is from the institution's perspective, how hard is it to get the right resources to meet needs right now? And that can be a question answered by the delegation here or by the leaders that are behind you.
You bet. Well, first, I'll start out and simply say that HBCUs have been underfunded for a century. And our land-grant schools, we've got Dr. Graham here, which are part of public university systems, even in that context, have been underfunded by states and state legislatures. So there's always a gap from philanthropy, from religious institutions, many of whom sponsor our private institutions. And so what Chairwoman Adams and I have tried to do is fill that gap with specific grant funding for advances in building modernization, technological advance, and to attract both those state resources in the case of our universities, but in the case of our private schools, philanthropy. We think this is a igniting spark to bringing more philanthropy to campuses. And I'll just say one other issue. All these presidents and Alma in her prior life delivered great results with very limited infrastructure success. So the question is, as was raised today, what more can we do when we have competitive facilities across the board as our society becomes much more geared towards scientific advance?
Yeah, I can only echo what the congressman has said. We have been punching above our weight for almost 200 years. Our oldest HBCU is about 190 years, that's Cheney. And so we've been working and making and producing not only high quality graduates, but those who've gone on to make to be competitive. Our schools are producing somewhere in the neighborhood of $17 million to the economy. So we're not slagging, but we do need that funding. 1890s, for example, in many of our states have not received their 1-1 match. Some of them are just getting that. And some of our state legislators are matching our 1862s 2 and 3 and 4 times. Now that means that they must have the funding, but they also have to have the will to do what's right. So listen, we need this funding. Our school, and it is difficult to get it, okay, because a lot of our students are first generation, and they don't come with a lot of dollars, and so the schools have to make up the difference.
We thank everybody for being here today. We wish you the very best, and we thank the partnership on the Hill and off the Hill that's made today successful. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. I'm heading back to committee.
Yep, see you. Thank you.